Alright, welcome back. In this video what we're going to do is we're going to configure and display the cell in the TableView controller here. So we are basically going to code for the cell. So I just really quickly want to make sure that we have the correct identifier for the cell. And if you see here in the attributes inspector, the identifier should be UITableView cell. So let's just go ahead and just copy that before we start implementing the code for the cell. All right, let's go to the UITableViewController. So last time we created some sample data, we implemented a number of sections as well as the number of rows in the section by counting the number of elements that are inside of our array called ideas. I'm going to bring this curly bracket down so I make sure that when I configure this cell that I'm not making any issues or duplicating anything. So we are going to implement this here, but what I want to use is actually a guard statement because this can fail, and if it fails it's going to crash horribly. So let's go ahead and remove this because I'm going to use a guard statement to ensure that if it does fail that it doesn't try to go any further and return the cell when it's not there. Okay, so first of all we need to bring in the identifier. So we do let cell identifier equal and pasting the identifier that was specified in the main view, in main storyboard. So bringing that in as a string. Okay, and now let's go ahead and configure the cell. And instead of doing the ... we're just going to go right underneath here and do the configuring. All right, so what we're going to use is the guard statement, like I said, because if this fails, I want to immediately jump out of this method because I don't want it to go any further if it can't, find and identify the cell. So we're going to do guard let cell equal, and then we're going to do TableView dot DQ reusable cell with identifier string. So what is DQ reusable cell? Basically it returns a reusable TableView cell object for the specified reuse identifier and adds it to the table. So basically all it does really is it's a method that requests the cell from the TableView to, instead of creating a new cell, to reuse old cells if at all possible. It just makes it easier and uses less memory if it reuses cells instead of creating new ones every time. All right, so with identifier, we're going to bring in the constant that we created above, which is cell identifier. And then for path, for index path, we just want to do index path. Like that. All right. Next thing we need to do is we need to cast this. So we're going to do as, and this should be the TableView cell here. That's what is the class. So it should be of this type. If it's not that type, then it won't cast it as that. All right. And then we're going to do else. So if it's not that, then we are going to return a fatal error with a message. So let's see, we'll say DQ'd cell isn't an instance of idea table view cell. So we're extremely clear that, okay, it failed because it wasn't an instance of the idea table view cell. All right, and then if it is, then we want it to continue on implementing. So we want it to assign or instantiate every idea that's inside of the array. So we're going to do then fetch the idea for data source layout. Okay, so we're going to do let idea equal ideas at the index path. Oops, do square bracket index path dot row, and then we are going to assign each property inside of it to each outlet. So we have some outlets here. Let's go ahead and do this side by side so that we can see exactly what we're doing. All right, so I'm here. Scrolling down, let's move this out of the way because we don't need it. Okay. All right, so we're gonna do cell dot name label dot text to equal, and let's see, idea dot name. So it's the name of the idea. We also want to assign the photo image with type image to idea image, and then also, let's see here, snippet text view. And that's going to be text as well. Do idea notes. Okay, so we have this error here, and that's because I didn't add the optional, so it's not wrapped. So I want to fix it. Okay, so that should be it, and then we're going to return the cell. All right, let's go ahead and build. I'm going to do Command B just to make sure that everything works. All right, so it passed, which is great. Oops. So we have one error here. It says view controller is unreachable because it has no entry points, and we will fix that. So if we look at this here, we see that there's nothing linking this view to our original view controller, our detailed view, and I'll fix that shortly with a navigation controller. Right now it's not really important, but what's important is that our code did not fail or throw any errors. So the next thing we need to do is ensure that our TableView cell is linked to the view controller. So yes, so here, making sure that our TableView cell is linked. And let's look at our table. So our table controller isn't linked to anything. And so that file that I created before in the last video, the idea table view controller, we need to link that now to this view or table view. So basically all you do is, it should be the only file there. So make sure that you have that linked. Let's go ahead and save, and let's go ahead and run this. Let's see what happens. All right, so this is great. We now have all of our sample ideas showing up, one with the photo, the title, and the description. So there's some things we need to do to clean this up, as we see that the first one like kind of cramps over the status bar, and we'll fix that with a navigation control bar. So, but the good thing is that we now have our sample ideas working and inputting, and we have our table view working and our table view controller working, and there's no errors other than this one about the view controller not being reachable. Again, like I said, we'll fix that in the next video, in which we will add a navigation. We'll actually implement navigation for that. so we can get rid of that error. All right, friends, if this has helped you at all, just give it a thumbs up. If you want to be notified when I upload videos, definitely subscribe and then hit the little bell button so that you can have a notification when I do. All right, as always, keep calm and code on.